He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
Angry Mortgages on the air. Okay, so I often watch other podcasts from different people, and I notice that podcasts almost always start with a little banter about human experiences that week, or like personal experiences, or like I was watching some podcast. They start off by rambling about football games and football teams and Super Bowl. Hey, I'm small enough. I can say Super Bowl. I don't have to say the big game. Fuck it. I'm saying Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Okay, go. Come and get me, you fuckers in the NFL. But look. And then they ramble off about how they played Xbox as a kid, or were they PlayStation people. And
they got personal.
But that happens all the time in podcasts.
Yeah.
So fuck it. We're not going to fucking do that, okay? We're going to jump right into fucking mortgages right fucking now.
They don't need to know. They don't need to know.
But finally, one thing, not personal, but a commentary on social media.
Yeah.
Because I'm swearing all the time, obviously not on every kind of platform.
Right.
Because if you swear too much on LinkedIn, they will put you away. Okay.
Yeah.
or you can get in trouble on some of these platforms. So, but occasionally I get the little note back in the comments section. Comment section says, "Hey, your message is okay, but I mean it's way too much swearing." And I always reply to those. I always reply in exactly the same way. I'm so fucking sorry. I'll try to fucking improve. I'm just such a mean bastard.
Such a troll.
Such a mean bastard. Anyhow, let's jump right in. Mortgages. That's the important part. Now, mortgages and house prices, mortgages and housing. This is what we talk about all the time on this podcast. And today I want to start off by talking about so many strange incidents of government fuckery with building houses. Okay. And government fuckery and wasting money and
wasting resources
and taxpayers' money getting lit on fire. And hey, it's tax time. It's tax time in Canada.
It's tax time. Tax time. Yeah.
So, we pay a lot of fucking tax in Canada.
Holy fuck. Oh, too much.
Way
too much. And guess what? We don't see it.
Well, we got some things we see. Kids can go to school. They can go to school. The roads work, sort of. Not in Toronto. But yeah, it's a meh. It's a meh. Yeah, they really work. But we got some stuff. And if you're lucky enough to have a family doctor, you can probably get, because that's only about, 2/3 of the people have a family doctor. Everybody else is fucked. Okay?
Yeah, basically.
So we got some government things that are good. Okay, I don't want to just.
We pay too much,
but we pay too much
compared to what we actually receive.
And because I think some of that is there's just so many people doing so much stuff. And because, let's just drill down to the essence of it. Because government's not a business. No one is ever punished for fuckery. Just think about that for a minute. If you're a really, really, really shitty employee,
you're gone.
In a real company, you're gone. Okay.
Won't think twice.
If the customers complain way too much about an employee in a real company,
write-ups or you're gone.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to work. It's going to go against you. There'll be a change. Okay.
There'll be consequences.
If you just screw up the business process enormously to the point where the business is losing business, I think they're probably going to let you go.
Most likely, yeah.
Or at least try to fix you.
Yeah.
Okay. Or at least care. Like if you run a business,
you're a liability, so they're going to care.
You're going to care.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to fix it or get rid of you. Okay. Yeah. But they care. They care because they see they're losing money, losing customers. Something's going wrong. You can't survive in business as a total fuck up. Even Apple, I take some of the biggest companies in the world, they give a shit, right? I mean, if the newest version of iPhone doesn't really sell well, they're immediately thinking about, oh, the fuck, we're going to fix this, okay? But in government, none of this is true.
No,
right?
because they're going to get paid regardless.
No,
we're going to pay taxes regardless.
And the money's coming, and if people have to do, they can even do a terrible job all the time. They will probably keep their jobs. Now, I know there's a lot of people in government who are screaming it into their phones or into their screens and saying, you fat fuck, I work like a bastard. Yeah, of course. Of course there's good people. Of course. But hey, good people in government, I'm going to make a 10-to-1 bet that you know a bunch of people in government who don't do shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And they get the same pay as you.
True.
Okay.
True.
That's my bet. There's a lot of good people who are also looking over and seeing, and also a lot of good people who say the management of my department are fuckwits. Okay. None of this makes sense. Half of what I do is nonsense. Okay. But you can't change anything. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's hit a few examples. A few examples of how fucked. I'm actually not going after politicians today. I'm going after the actual bureaucracy, the inner workings of government to do with housing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about a few things. We have a organization in Ontario, and every province has some version of this. Ours is called MPAC. It has to do with assessing the value of houses. Okay. So when houses let's face it, houses at some point in their existence, every house started as an empty piece of land. Yeah. Right? And people had to dig a hole, put it in the foundation, basement, build the house. But when it was just a piece of land, it had value X, right? Right. And then when you build a house on it, it now has value Y. And the values of properties is where property taxes come from. Okay. So MPAC's job is to go out and make sure that values are assessed correctly. They spend a lot of time on new homes, and because that's important, right? Right. It used to be a hole in the ground. Now it's a condo tower. We got to figure that out, right? Yeah. And also they make decisions about what the values of houses are. In every so many years, they have to decide, okay, house prices have gone up. Let's assess values. This doesn't automatically mean that there will be a property tax increase. That's something that's not well understood. But it does mean that that we should know what the continuum within the province, what we think the value is.
100%, yeah.
So here's the deal. I think they have done some of these new home things, like when you build a new home or you build a condo tower. They have done those assessments. Right. But they have not done a general assessment for about 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah. By the way, this was a great post by a guy online. He's on a couple of different platforms. He's on X. Great guy called Scott Ingram, brilliant realtor who does just spot on independent analysis of housing trends and week to week situations in the housing market in the GTA. Does great work. And he, as he said so intelligently, he said, why are there no assessments being done, no general assessments being done by an organization that's taxpayer funded that has assessment in their name? Okay.
So what the fuck they've been doing?
What's going on here?
And it's not like we're building a bunch of homes for them to be doing, focus on just new homes.
They announced, by the way, no assessments in 2024. We're just in 2024. They gave up already. Okay.
That is insane.
It's fucked up.
So what are they doing?
Well, they're doing something, okay, but I don't know what they're doing, okay? I mean,
the taxpayers would like to know what the fuck they're doing.
Okay, there was COVID. No, COVID was. There'll be no assessments during COVID. We can't do our work. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, COVID's over. Fuck it. Okay, COVID's over, and you're shutting down 2024. What the fuck? Okay, I just don't even understand it. Okay, so that's one example of money being spent on an organization who has the word assessment in their name.
One job.
And there's no assessments. Okay. One job.
The one thing they're meant to do. Yeah.
Then we got the weird and wacky world of building houses, permitting and inspections. Now we've talked before about it takes for an infill. So infill house is when you tear down an ancient house and an existing lot inside a city, and any city. Could be Mississauga, could be London, Ontario, could be Ottawa, could be Toronto, who cares? You tear down the existing home, you have to get plans, permits to build a new home in that space. So it's 22 months to do that in Toronto. Damn. When you get started, you probably won't be able to actually put a backhoe in the ground for about 22 months. Okay.
Damn.
Which is completely insane. Okay. But just last week, I learned it actually gets worse. Because as you build the house, you have to have various inspections done at various stages. Okay.
Right.
We're involved, and we get involved in construction financing from time to time. And it's not our main business at all, not even slightly. Our main business is mortgage on residential mortgages, renewals, purchases, refinance, you name it. But we're trying to figure out what's going on with this construction project. We're having a phone meeting with the people who are involved. And the guy says, well, we just keep catching delay after delay from the city. So what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Well, for instance, he says we had to get a 400 amp service into this new house. I said, whoa, are you running you tell me it's a house, is it a factory? I've never heard of 400 amp. Or you're running a restaurant?
24-hour casino or something?
What's going on here? Okay, 400 amp. He said, that's not the same thing. We were all set to install the 200 amp service.
Yeah, that's literally double.
And they said to us, well, that's sort of how it goes. It goes like 100, 200, 400. It sort of just goes up like that.
But double of what's usually needed.
200 is it. I mean,
home,
200 is it. So he said the inspector asked us, because we had on the plans it shows we're going to install an EV charger in our garage. Okay, so we're going to have EV charger in our garage. So they said, well, how many? And everybody told me 200 amps enough. It was enough. So then the inspector said, well, how many EVs are you going to have? And they said, well, we have two. We have one now. We plan, and the next car is another one. And so we could conceivably end up with 3. So the inspector crosses out 200 and puts in 400. Well, you're going to need 400.
Oh, just because in the future he's going to have 2 more EV.
Woohoo! Oh my God.
So then that's...
And the guy said, well, wait a minute. I think, no. He says, look, I see your plans also include that you might someday, not now, you might someday want to have solar panels. So all the more the guy said, well, wait a second. Solar panels is the electricity's coming in, not out. What are you talking about? Hold on. He says, look, you're not the electrical inspector. I decide what the fuck's going on here. Okay. And I'm ordering 400 amp service for this house. Okay. So you got to give all the fucking 200 amp stuff back. You got to so you got to start basically for that part of your electrical installation.
Yeah.
You got to start all over again. But that's just one crazy fucking thing. Okay. Yeah. This guy's telling me there's all kinds of crazy things happen. Okay. Like one inspector comes out and says, do this. And this is what you must do.
Right.
In this particular situation. So we'll do it. And then when they'll send another inspector back to check, and that guy will say, well, or gal, okay, there's lots of gals who are doing it too. And the gal will say, why did you do that? And he said, well, the other inspector told us we had to. We didn't, my contractor said he didn't think so, but the guy insisted. So the gal says, no, that's crazy. You never had to do that.
What kind of game are they playing?
They're playing the game we talked about, where no matter how much you're wrong about shit, you can't lose your job. So obviously, we also need inspectors. We need the permit. If permitting's running 22 months behind,
right?
Okay. By the way, anybody out there who's listening, if you're in the contracting side and you want to send in your part of your comments, send in your stories about crazy inspection bullshit,
let us know.
Please let us know. We are interested. Okay, we are very, very interested. But that happened. That happened. Like, and you might say, well, you just have to switch panel. The panel is like 70% more expensive. You have to stop because maybe you had the master electrician scheduled to come in and install the panel you had.
Delays.
You got to delay that.
Oh my God.
It just goes on and on and on and on. Okay. Final thing on bureaucracy, and this one is so strange. Okay. This just happened this week. I'm just talking about stuff that happened this week. Okay, 1 week.
And it was a short week.
It was a short week. It was family day.
Off.
And we have so many fucking holidays in Canada. I know everybody loves their holidays.
We don't have enough holidays in Canada.
I mean, Jesus Christ. If you're an employer, you could probably do with 1 or 2 more of those days. But anyway, I respect the fact people like holidays. Okay, that's fine. So every municipality I'll just use Ontario. Okay. Every municipality, every region, like if you're a Peel region, Toronto region, Durham region, York region, you have to submit to the provincial government lots of information about where you're at for development and future development.
Right.
And you basically you say, well, we also have this many new building lots approved, and it's this many, and every county reports, every region reports, okay, that this is what we've got approved, and eventually they'll be serviced, and there'll be new homes built, okay? And there was one organization who's like a urban study group who thought, this seems like a huge fucking number they're giving, because God knows not much is getting built. Like very little is getting built this year to date, okay? Hardly anything, because of the high interest rates. Cost of construction is coming down, but the interest rates are still high, and particularly prime rate is still high, and that's where construction financing comes from. A few other reasons, but ultimately there's not much building going on. So this planning organization thought, well, let's really reach out and, we've got this number that the province says there is, big number. Let's see if it's really true. And then they actually went to the municipalities, went to the regions, and they actually said, okay, you have to count the lots this way, the lots that you say are assigned to be built on. Let's count them, and let's recount them, and let's make sure we're using the right criteria, and make sure we're analyzing it properly. Well, at the end of that investigation, there's 1 million lots less. Not 100,000, not 150,000, not 200,000.
1 million?
There's 1 million lots less than they approved than they thought. By the way, when I say approved, I'm not talking about housing starts or anything like that. I'm talking about we have these areas of our municipality assigned for new builds, and it's accepted that we will put there are lots we've assigned, like
ready
800 lots to this area. They're not ready to go. They're going to be serviced yet.
Right.
But we've assigned in our planning, we've assigned like 800 lots over this corner, 3,000 lots over here, in wherever, Caledon or something. I'm not blaming Caledon, but I'm just using an example of what I mean by that. When you added it all up, the real, like somebody investigating, like trying to do a hard count.
Yeah.
No, 1 million lots less.
Okay. How does that, what?
Yeah. So.
They definitely didn't miscount it. It was just.
But they're all different. So if all of them miscount a little bit.
It adds up. Of the miscounts.
Or their formula was wrong, or their formula was old, or it turns out, well,
somebody put an extra zero.
we actually had that. So we had that in the stock market. So what the fuck? Like, your job is to. Why did this independent operation have to check? Like, why aren't there people? We've got so many people in the provincial government. Okay,
they could have double checked.
Why isn't that a project to check some shit once in a while? Okay, like, 1 million lots less than we thought.
That's so messed up.
Well, it doesn't really make much difference today because we're not building a shit ton, right? But
like, again, taxpayer money for them to not even
somebody's submitting a report. That's wrong. Okay.
And that's not okay.
No, it's so fucking far from okay. Yeah. It is just so fucking
Holy
far.
Shit, man.
So a couple of interesting developments this week. Another sort of report that came out is discussion of posting. A lot of stuff I pick up is posted online. I do my job. I check it in multiple places to make sure it's true, because there's some shit online that ain't true.
Some shit.
There's some that are quite, maybe
it's like a 50-50.
Maybe there's a bit, yeah. So this is easy because this is provincial governments who actually have legislation in place, who've changed their rules, and you can check on the rule changes. It's there. It's in writing. It's in print. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I've come to determine. that, we because everybody kicks the shit out of Trudeau and Friedland and Sean Fraser. Everybody in the Liberal government in Ottawa just gets the shit kicked out of them. Okay, I mean, and some of it's deserved. Some of it's not. The stuff that's just insulting and mean is not deserved. It's
unnecessary.
Okay? Everybody's got the fuck Trudeau bumper sticker. Get rid of that. That's not.
You can get your point across without using bad words.
And the truth. Well, not me. I can't.
Well, no.
I gotta use bad words. But
but you did well when you were in Parliament. So we'll give you that.
They won't let you swear in Parliament. That's for sure. Although Pierre Poilievre did say WTF. He used the acronym the other day. But anyway, the bottom line is this. We should attack the policies and not the people. We can say that people are wrong, but because fuck me, a lot of it's wrong. Shit ton. Okay. But it doesn't make sense to attack the humans, like, oh, you're stupid and you're unqualified and you're this. Well, look, if you got voted in, you're qualified. Okay. To a certain extent, you are qualified.
Of course.
Enough people in Canada believed in you to vote you in. Okay. But if you fuck up, you deserve to get voted out. By all means, yes. Okay, 100%. So we tend to really focus, particularly people in Ontario, really focus on what goes on federally in Ottawa with that government. And they've, if you just take the immigration policy, like it's just been a disaster. I mean, we have the third largest population growth in Canada on planet Earth. Like seriously, I saw a table the other day where the other countries are like small African countries that have huge birth rates, or countries in the Middle East that have massive birth rates, right? Because nobody has kids here in Canada anymore.
We've got dogs.
Everybody's got dogs. They got pets. Okay, but huge birth rates in some of these countries, like massive. Like people are having 5-6 kids. Okay,
yeah.
Canada's right in there because we bring people in to that extent. Highest population growth in 100 years.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, it's up there. But so we can be critical of that. Like if you're building less houses and you have the highest population growth in 100 years.
Basic math.
Math isn't mathing. Okay,
math is not
mathing at all. Okay, so you can really kick the shit out of people with those stupid policies. That's for sure. But the provinces have a ton to do with housing, right? They might be in the driver's seat on housing,
right?
Because the provinces do control the municipalities. We tend to think that like Toronto City Hall is a completely independent thing, okay? Or London and Ontario City Hall, they run London, and Windsor runs Windsor. But actually, the province calls the shots on all of them
to an extent, right?
Almost entirely. Like the province can change the way the city's allowed to work very easily. You could try a court challenge, but if they want to, the province can do a lot. So there was a little comparison done, and it was damn good, between what's going on in British Columbia to do with housing versus what's going on in Ontario. By the way, this is not really designed to measure the number of houses built, because that they're two totally different provinces.
Yeah.
But what are the policies? Like, what has the Premier and the government of British Columbia, Premier Eby, done since he got in about a year and a half ago, maybe 16 months ago? What has he done versus what has Premier Ford done for policies? And Premier Ford's been here a long time. Like, he won an election, he won another election, so I think he's going on close to 6 years now.
Yeah.
Who's done what?
Right.
Who's done what? So let's compare British Columbia. British Columbia has had massive policy changes. Massive, okay?
Oh.
British Columbia Cape was the first to come in with a full province-wide upzoning. What upzoning means is if it's a single-family home, unless there's some really special regional reason for it to stay single-family, it's automatically declassified as single-family and immediately classified multiple-family, the entire province.
Wow.
So if you've got a lot that you bought as a single family, if somebody next door to you wants to put in a 4-plex or a 6-plex or a laneway home or any fucking thing to increase the amount of people who can live on that single family lot, that's a provincial mandate. You can do it. But the province just said, we don't care what the fuck you cities think, what your zoning is, fuck you all. You can build more you can build more units on a single family lot.
Wow.
Smart. Obviously smart. So he also, in British Columbia, they did essentially a province-wide ban on Airbnb. They just said every short-term rental is illegal. Fuck you all. Okay.
Yikes.
Because it's a simple idea. They're basically illegal hotel rooms. And the idea was that we'll force those people to either sell it to people who want to buy a home, or they'll have to rent it year-round. They'll have to do a lease, a year lease.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they also, another interesting program, just this week in British Columbia, they put in an extra tax on house flipping. Now, technically, there isn't a lot of house flipping. It has a serious impact on pricing. Okay, very serious on pricing, because pricing is always at the margins. Okay, in other words, whatever's sold on your street for a new record sale, that affects the value of every property on the street. So it just keeps pushing prices up.
Right.
So they put an extra tax on house flipping, but here's the deal. And CRA is like 1 year. Like you're a house flipper. CRA says, or if you're changing houses every year, once every 12 months, you're a house flipper, and you lose your privileges on, if you do 3 in a row, 3 years, 3 houses, fuck you. You lose all your you lose your capital gains exemption. We're going to charge you capital gains on every sale, which is huge.
Shit.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, but if you can beat that, like you can be a house flipper and just time it right. You can say, well,
13 months. And,
13 months, 16 months, 18 months, whatever the fuck. We're just
There's always loopholes.
We're going to find a way to make sure CRA doesn't. We're going to sell this house with no tax, no matter what the profit is. We're not going to pay any tax on the profit at all. No capital gains at all. It's called my primary residence. I'm going to sell it. No capital gains. I'm going to buy another one. Wait 16 months to do the same shit all over again. Okay, and that's a lot. Can you imagine making money with no tax at all?
That's insane.
It's pretty fucking good, eh?
Yeah.
So what they said in British Columbia was, look, if we don't care who you are, we don't care your situation, we accept no excuses. If you buy and sell a house within a 24-month period, we're going to slap you with 20% extra tax.
Oop.
Yep. They got them.
Wow.
And it's not a huge, it's not impactful, although it'll generate about...
But it's something.
And it generated about $43 million worth of revenue for the province. And that's their estimate. And it will put everybody on notice. Like if you're a professional house flipper who's trying to avoid paying tax eternally, we're going to fuck you up. Okay. And finally, BC, they've actually putting together, I don't know if this is such a great idea, times will tell, but they're actually putting together a crown corporation or a provincial corporation to actually build homes.
Wow.
Just go out and build homes. Okay. I mean, because they say, well, private enterprise, developers are doing a shitty job. They're not building enough in the right places, the right sizes. We're going to get into the business. So they've done a ton, right? I've just listed.
In the less than 2 years he's been in?
18 months. Okay?
Wow.
He just comes out with a new law
come here next?
every fucking 3 months. Yeah, exactly. Right. Come here. Because Ontario, not so much.
No.
Okay. We're faced with fuckery in Ontario. We're faced with,
it's a shit show.
Hey, we're going to open up the green.
Open up the green belt to my friends.
Open up the green belt for my friends to make money.
My frenzies.
Oh, golly, folks.
I didn't know.
I got caught. So fuck it. We're going to put them all back. Okay. Like Premier Ford, for fuck's sakes, don't be silly. This is nuts. Okay. Honestly,
it's so bizarre.
And
bizarre.
even though like some cities like Ontario, like Toronto have tried to ban Airbnb, ban short term. The province hasn't. So why doesn't the province ban it? Why doesn't the province just do a lot of hard-nosed shit to try to manage this housing crisis? But I don't see it. I don't think anybody really see. Now, there's some people who love Premier Ford Nation are going to come in and say, "Oh no, we did this and we did that and we did that and we did this." Hey, fuck you all. Okay, honestly, it just gets worse and worse in Ontario.
And even if there is a small group of people who benefited from what he's done, it's just a small percentage of the whole province.
100%.
Right?
100%.
We're all screwed. We're all screwed.
Everybody except the people who have owned a house since 2000. Everybody who wants to buy a house is pretty damn screwed.
Yeah.
So what's the rate action this week? Not much.
Yeah.
Not much change this week. The rates are not going down. Some rates went up slightly. Not even so much that you want to report it. They're still a few good deals. Definitely, we don't see any indication that rates are going to start to plunge anytime soon, even though we discussed there was a good inflation report. That is to say, inflation came down. Okay, good CPI report. But in bond world, it's sort of steady state. Because there's a lot of wild shit going on in bond world, right? We have this one stock in the United States called NVIDIA. Okay, they make these chips that run AI computers. Okay, and that company is now worth more than, I don't know, Luxembourg or Switzerland put together, or like it's the highest stock market cap in the world. Like it increased, like the value of the stock increased in one day equal to the entire market cap of RBC.
Holy shit.
Like in just one day action. All right. Like, so what happens when something is really fucking wild like that?
Yeah.
Like this company has just grown and grown and grown. Market cap's nuts. Money's flying into it, buying stock. So when that happens, bond yields can change. And bond yields can change because what is it? People are selling bonds, right? So anyway, so that happens. Because the money's got to come from somewhere, right? So
of course.
So yeah, that's been going on, but no major rate changes in Canada. We were hoping for some, but we're not getting any quite yet. But I still firmly believe by the summer we'll see lower rates. So, quick little update on Claire Drage. You know, our friend Claire Drage with the promissory notes. You've heard me take some calls.
A lot of people have been reaching out about that.
Yeah, I've talked to a bunch of people.
Yeah, unfortunately, people have been affected by the promissory notes.
Oh, man.
Like, it's pretty gut-wrenching when I hear somebody's like, oh, yeah, I watched the pod, and then that's me. And I'm like, fuck. I'm sorry. Like, it's shitty. It's just very shitty.
And, you know, the similarities of the stories are all, there's a trend here.
I bet.
These are all people who knew that mortgage brokerage, and many of them knew Claire in terms of they had watched her webinars, they'd met her in some cases. Certainly there's a real pattern emerging that they'd done other business with the brokerage.
Okay.
Like they'd either got their own bank mortgages through the brokerage, the brokerage had helped them with some of their like private mortgage on their own home, and then that got paid off, and then their situation improved. Some of them actually like had associations with the brokerage. Okay. But they all said the same thing. We did a bunch of we did transactions.
Yeah.
We did transactions. Everything worked great. And then she said, "This promissory note stuff is brilliant. It's a big interest rate, 15% interest, folks. Okay, on these promissory notes."
Oh.
And they all said the same thing. She gave personal guarantees, like her own name is on that I guarantee you'll get your money back.
Wow.
Signed, Claire Drage. Okay. And because of those relationships that have built up, they believed. And they got 15. Now, a bunch of people are going to jump on this right away and say, "Oh, they're greedy fucks. Nobody should expect to make 15%. That's fucking crazy." Hey, people make money all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, people make money in the stock market. People lose money too.
Yeah.
But just don't make fun of people.
Yeah.
Don't blame the victim.
It was their money. It was their choice on how they wanted to use it.
Absolutely. But it's not like they just read an email that said this is good and they just threw their money at it.
Of course. They had that personal relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
She had made sure that she built rapport with these customers.
Yeah.
And then said, "Oh, they trust me. Here you go." Right?
And here, let me say this one thing. It may come out that she believed it herself, that she believed everything was going to be great. That may be true. I got my doubts about some of it in the late stages, but the bottom line is, as mortgage brokers, we're trained that when we talk about people investing their money into private mortgages. First of all, we don't do promissory notes. I know very few mortgage brokers who ever did or do. But we're also trained about the importance of not being reckless about how to only propose the safest path.
Of course.
And the idea of shoveling money into potential renovations, like nobody on the planet Earth thinks that's the safest path. Okay. So there's some stuff that I could never support, but it is eerie. And it's also eerie that all of them borrowed money on their own HELOCs, their own home equity lines of credit.
Shut.
All the calls we got last week.
They were all identical, basically.
They had they had some variation, but the theme was identical. The theme of, I knew her, we did other transactions, we had successful transactions, I listened to her, I paid attention to her webinar, I paid attention to what she said, I read her stuff, and she personally guaranteed this herself, personally, okay? And, by that time, after multiple transactions, we believed in her. And they all said the same thing. They said, because it's right on your website, it says, be smart, be your own bank, or, borrow money to make more money. And all of them had put, and in all cases, her company had helped arrange a HELOC on their homes, a home equity line of credit. And they had pulled money out of that to put into this promissory note. Okay.
That's fucked up, man.
Fucked up. You didn't just lose cash. You lose, the money's gone, and you're going to pay interest on it. You have to pay it off. Okay, it's a complete disaster. So we'll keep you informed as this thing keeps moving along. But that was the theme this week, right? We got some calls.
And a short week, too.
And a short before you love their holiday. You keep talking about the short week. You love your holiday.
It was a great week.
Short week is a great week, right? Yeah, I get it. All right, we got the answer bag, which is probably the stupidest name in the world for this thing. We're going to officially change the name.
We'll figure something.
We'll figure something better out. But we got the viewer and listener mail emails, comments in the comment section. If you want a question answered, put it in the comment section. We'll get to it. I promise.
Okay, so this one says, my bank keeps phoning us and texting me about increasing my variable rate payments. They keep talking like I need to increase it. Can they force me to do it?
That's a good one. I got a couple of those calls too over the last 6 months. So we'll go back to the very simple idea that you can have a variable rate mortgage where the payment doesn't change. So a number of banks, big 6 banks, had products where if you got a variable rate mortgage, the interest rate would go up, but in many cases your payment would not change.
Right.
Okay. I'm not going to beat those banks up because nobody in the face of the earth ever expected it would ever go up this far, this fast.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fast. All right.
Yeah.
You go from, these rates have gone for these people went from 1.45 to 6.2 in, 14 months. Okay. Yeah. Nobody thought that would happen.
For sure.
So what ends up happening is they're not paying any principal off, or they're paying virtually no principal off because their interest used to be, they had a $2,000 a month payment. Their interest used to be $800. They were paying off $1,200. Now the interest is $2,000. They're paying off nothing.
Yeah.
Or the worst outcome of all, the interest is $2,100 and they're still paying $2,000. So they're actually going backward. Their mortgage is growing $100. Sure. So I know that at the urging of the regulator, OSFI, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, I know that all these banks in these situations were pushed. Communicate with your clients, hound your clients, inform them of the danger of their mortgage growing or not paying off anything.
Right.
And recommend that they increase payments or they make additional payments.
Right.
But here's the thing. There's nothing in the contracts. Every bank has different contract wording.
Right.
But in most cases, things have to really, really, really go offside before the bank can force you to. Like RBC is a little different. They can automatically switch you to make sure you pay a small amount every month. Like you have to pay off at least $5 principal. You can never go backwards with RBC.
Right.
You can never have increasing mortgage. Can't happen. But if you think about CIBC and BMO and TD, they have a bunch of different trigger points that have to happen before you are forced to increase your payment. So I would say this. I would say in all likelihood, if you haven't got a text or an email or a phone call that says, we are increasing your mortgage now for this reason, I would say, no, you can't be forced.
Yeah.
You cannot be forced. It's probably a pretty fucking good idea. Okay.
Don't want to be going backwards.
You don't want to be mortgage growing if you can possibly handle it. But yeah, no, unless you've hit very, very specific trigger points, which are in most cases nobody's hit yet, they can't make you do it.
Got it. We're in our 60s, house is paid off, reverse mortgage, or should we get a reverse mortgage or a line of credit? We do want to leave something to our kids.
Well, my first reaction to that is it's a nice sentiment to want to leave something to your kids, but I always have believed in fuck those kids, okay? Like honestly, fuck them, okay? My philosophy is die broke, okay? I think I can accomplish it too, like die broke, all right? So yeah, no, reverse mortgage. It's got a bunch of, it's a higher interest rate. It's got the advantage of you're always getting your money back. In other words, you don't ever have to make a single payment. You get a bunch of money. You don't have to make any payment. There's some value to that. A HELOC also lower interest rate, and interest rate will probably go down in the next year. And obviously, if you've got a HELOC, you can just, to make the minimum monthly payment, you just take more money out of the HELOC to make that payment, okay? Two possibilities. You got to check with financial advisors, check with your mortgage brokers. Make sure you look at the math carefully, but yeah. But anyway, don't leave any money to your kids. It's your house. You use the money if you need it. Enjoy it. You're gonna, if you're in your 60s, I hope you live for another 30 years, but you may not. So enjoy the money. Okay.
No, fair. Okay. This one says, should we make RRSP contributions? It is tax time. Or use the money to pay down our mortgage renews in 2025?
Okay, typically people, it's a good idea. It is tax time, so everybody's starting to think about RSPs, right? It's just normal ideas that come through, and it's a pretty good, it's a question, right? I mean, if you've got, sometimes financial planners like to make it just all about the math and all about the taxes and all about this and all of that. Here's the thing. In most cases, I would suggest, particularly in this case of renewing in 2025, like it's a ways away. Okay, so we believe rates will be lower in 2025, so that a renewal will not be as impactful as it is today. But this is what I got to say. When you utilize RSPs, you reduce your taxation right now. Okay, you will pay less taxes immediately. Okay, you will get a refund. It's positive. It's very tax positive. Okay, we don't know. We suspect the rates will be lower next year. You probably don't have to be as afraid of the renewal as you might if you look at the rates today. You're a little scared, but by the way, it's not going to be 2%. Everybody's going to pay more. Okay, it's not going to be 2% in 2025, but you will pay, but it'll be lower than today. And a year from now, you might be making a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Okay. I can never really tell people who have got a renewal that's 12 or 18 months away that they should really obsess about it now. They should follow it. They should keep checking on rates. They should, as you get closer and closer, but you have a great rate now, and paying down your mortgage won't save you any income tax, but RSPs will. Simple as that. So.
Something to note.
And that takes us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, this is stuff I've talked about before, but there's some things this week that have just made me so fucking mad about it. And, it's going to sound, sometimes I sound like it's just too much repetition on this one theme, but I was on a big webinar this week with a lot of other mortgage brokers. It's more of a, it's to do with our association, MPC, and a bunch of people, and there's lenders there as well, mortgage lenders. And they were talking about, hey, we think mortgage income fraud is worse than ever. Document fraud is worse than ever. Wow. So, God, that's hard to hear. So very quickly, folks, income document fraud is, we got some specialists. We got some overseas specialists. You can buy fake T4s online for as little as $2.99 each. You got to send the money to India or Malaysia or some other place, or Indonesia. You're sending it somewhere. And you'll get these perfect Adobe, beautifully immaculate, can't beat them T4s and other fake. You got a lot of fake income documents you can do. And the lenders in the group were suggesting that it's as bad as ever before, even though mortgage volume's down because there's fewer purchases.
Right.
Than in 2021. it's really hard to. They catch a bunch of them. Don't get me wrong. A bunch of them getting caught, but they are always amazed today with how perfect these documents are. Yeah. So I just have to say it for the 1,000th time in my life, 1,876 time. Okay. The government can fucking stop this. Okay. CRA linkage to big lenders. One fucking number. One number. Line 15,000 on your notice of assessment. We
yes
don't need
or
to.
No.
That's it.
That's all we need.
That's all we need. Just the lender. And it's just yes or no. There's no privacy issues here. People gave us the fucking document. So they gave up privacy when they handed it to us, right?
Yeah.
So all we're saying is they signed a waiver. They signed a release, for fuck's sakes. Yes, you can exchange information with various, because we know you've got to underwrite this mortgage. And just say yes or no. We don't need to know the whole story of. We don't need to know anything about it. Just line 15,000. Does it match what you've got, CRA, in your system? That's it. There's even a budget for it. They even did an estimate of what it would cost. It's not like a Rive scam. It's not $60 million fucking dollars. It's like a couple of $1 million.
Yeah.
And it would solve mortgage document fraud on the income side completely. Okay? Like it's fixed. Fixed forever. Okay?
Yeah.
The United States, with IRS, has had this system in place for 15 fucking years.
Clearly working fine.
Yeah, totally working fine. Nobody says a fucking word about it. Yeah, people still try to do document fraud in the States, but their success rate is fucking low, okay? Really fucking low, all right?
Yeah.
Come on. CRA, Government of Canada, Mr. Friedland, hey, wake the fuck up. This is an easy fucking fix. Everybody's been asking for it for eternity. I testified before parliamentary committees about it.
Yep.
I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to bring this fucker up once a quarter, at least. Make the fucking change. It's so simple. Just fucking do it. You're not listening. Fucking do it. We're out. We'll see you next week.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.